Good evening and welcome to the August 27th meeting of the Board of Selectmen. If everybody would rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome. We have a public meeting, a public hearing scheduled here for 6 o'clock, so I will declare that the public hearing, in order for the Waterboro Board of Selectmen to hear the public comments regarding amendments to the Highway Entrance Ordinance, declare that open. Would anyone like to comment? Seeing no comments. Any questions from the board? I think we have the red-lined copy. Not red-lined, we're adding a paragraph, right?
Do we need to put a date in there?
Well, it'll be as soon as we
Only
accept
if we
it.
vote it.
As soon as we vote on it, that date will go in. So
Okay.
it might be tonight. But.
All right.
So this is exactly the way we discussed it a couple of weeks ago, right?
I guess for the public, the Public Works Department has been having to put in your driveway entrance culvert if needed. You get an entrance permit and then buy the culvert, and the town has put it in. And the cost of putting it in has been the bearing of the taxpayers, so now it's going back on to the homeowner that needs the culvert put in, and the homeowner can now hire whoever and probably get it done as cheap or cheaper, and can also get it done when they want it done. Is about what this amounts to out of this whole paragraph.
When we enacted this there several years ago, kind of one of the unintended consequences was that in order for them to be put in correctly, we said, well, the town will put them all in, but needless to say, that has now put a fairly significant cost burden on the municipality, because all the developer or homeowner is paying for is the price of the culvert. So this flips the cost and the responsibility back to either the homeowner, the developer, or whomever's putting the driveway in. So,
and it'll still be inspected and
Right.
need to be approved before they can get an occupancy permit.
so this part of the last sentence in this paragraph that we're adding is no certificate of occupancy or other certificate of land use shall be issued until the Public Works Director has inspected and approved the completed drainage improvements. Any other comments?
Oh, I guess we could talk about that date. Would that be
As soon as we approve it.
the date after the election? Oh, I'm sorry. This is you folks. I beg your pardon.
Right.
I've got election
So
on the brain.
this becomes effective as soon as we approve it.
Yep.
So that date will go in. May very well be today. Yes, Amy.
Could the homeowner choose to have the Public Works Department do it, or are they to go out and get a third party?
Well, we prefer that they would do a third party, because the Public Works Department's got enough work on their own. Unfortunately, the way that the ordinance was written before was that the town had to install it, so.
And you said it's been a significant expense, is it like, I mean, is there a range per,
It's about $1,000 on the taxpayer because
You know
the
how many
landowner developer is only paying for the culvert. And I think David's estimate was it's costing us about $1,200 to put the culvert in and improve the drainage and that, so.
Roughly a 30-foot culvert, 18 or 15-inch culvert, and
That's gonna run you at $400 to $500 for the culvert itself.
3 to 5, yes.
So that other $1,200 is over and above that. So that's what the taxpayers were putting in.
Yeah, and there's,
do you know how many you've done roughly?
Over the years,
No,
Since it was
well,
put in.
since this year, I think he said they were up to, what, 20, 21?
I
It's
don't
on
think-
hundreds easily.
This year so far, 20 or 21, this fiscal year.
20 or more.
Yeah.
And two or 3 weeks ago, he said he had 12 or 13 to do with this budget change, so.
Thank you.
Any other comments, folks?
No, sir.
If not,
One more comment.
Yeah.
In this ordinance, there's a review board that we need to get on board in case somebody disagrees with the public works or code enforcement or whoever is in the process of giving that entrance permit on site distance.
right, and it, well, it's for any reason that the permit would be denied,
Yeah.
there is a grievance or a
Review board.
appeal process, and that appeal process goes, I believe the appeals board is one selectman, one road review committee member, and one, I'll go to, I'm not gonna quote it from memory, I'm gonna see if I can get.
It's a three-member board, but
Right,
we do need to set it up so that there is
yeah, it's
an
got,
appeals process.
that isn't changing, that's already in the ordinance.
In the ordinance, yes. My only comment is we haven't done it,
That's right.
yes.
Where is it in?
I don't know, I'm zipping through it here.
We haven't got the whole ordinance in front of us.
Yeah, I think you're right, I think.
9 or 10 pages, and there's only like 5.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only 5 pages in the packet. Okay. Sensing there are no other questions, I'm gonna declare that the public hearing be closed,
6:07, we're closed.
and we will move on. Any announcements from anyone on the board? Just a reminder, I don't know if Gary's gonna cover it, but I think everybody realizes that we are now open on Mondays. However, next Monday is Labor Day, so we will not be open. But any Monday that is not a holiday, we will be open here at the town office for business. We have no appointments I'm sorry, additions or deletions to the agenda? We have,
I have something I'd like to add. Jim Southworth has a proposal he'd like to make. It should be brief, if we can fit that in.
under new business?
Sounds good? Make that C.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what's the subject?
Making videos for public access.
Okay. All right, anything else? Okay, probably ought to at least take a motion and a second on adding that to the agenda, so someone would like to move that, we add that, I guess that's, Tim, you did that, right?
Did I make that motion?
I'd take a second to that.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Opposed? All right, we'll add 9C. Okay, we have no appointments this evening. Any public comments? Tammy, you have anything to say? Correspondence, we have the,
Just a comment, after last, 2 weeks ago's meeting, Public Works did get those cross culverts hot top within just a few hours, and it's made a great improvement on both of those roads.
Yep.
I guess they didn't use coal patch, they used the real stuff.
right, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I went over on one on Deer Ridge and I'm going, where the heck was that cross?
I was still
culvert?
looking for it. I was already past it.
It was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
That comes from Jason Champion's 5 to 10 years working for Carroll, I think.
All right,
They did a good job, so.
Correspondence with treasurers' reports, monthly treasurers' reports, if anybody's interested. Reports from staff, initiatives, selectmen's reports. Dwayne, anything?
You got nothing?
Tim?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Gordon?
Yeah, last week I had the opportunity to attend the Maine Municipal Association law update regarding medical and recreation marijuana. This was down at the conference center in Saco. And I think the one thing I gleaned from that was there's still an awful lot of work that they need to do on that. There's still areas that are, at least, to say the least, confusing. And there's some issues that are in conflict with one another, and they're trying to address those right now. But the Office of Marijuana Policy is going to be doubling their size. They're currently at 16 personnel, and they're going to double that here within the next few months. And a contingency of that is going to be enforcement officers that they're going to be similar, I think, by comparison to liquor inspectors, because they're going to be going around to check all these places that are licensed, and if they get information that there's something operating without a license when they should have one, they're going to be addressing those as well. It was pretty informative. It was put on by Maine Municipal Association and the Office of Marijuana Policy. There's quite a number of pieces of legislation that are on the books right now for the upcoming year. So I would look forward to a bunch of changes already, but I don't really think that it impacts us significantly because we had that vote and we didn't opt in on anything, so we don't have to worry about too much of that. So.
Okay. Anything else, Gordon?
No, that's it.
Ed?
Nothing tonight.
And I think I'm all set.
All right, thank you. We'll talk a lot tonight here. Got a whole page here. We mentioned 2 weeks ago that we're losing Tammy Bellman to the City of Alfred, who's going to be their next administrative assistant there. Her last day of work with us will be this Friday. We're going to miss her and wish her well in her new endeavor down there. We had 16 applications so far for that position. We interviewed 3 people today. And I'm not ready to make a public announcement. I've told everybody but Dwayne I caught tonight. I'm happy to tell Dwayne afterwards here too, that we've actually made a recommendation here. And so we'll be pulling that ad from MMA and no more newspaper ads if we can catch them. We had 3 strong applications. They had very different people, very different skill sets, but it was a unanimous vote. Public Works Transfer Station position, we had our last interview this evening at 5:15. We had 4 applications there. We interviewed 3, and we also made a decision this evening, a unanimous decision on how to go there. The recreation position was filled previously by Laura Lowe, and she's going to start on September 3rd in the recreation department. Tax bills, as most people know, have been mailed out, and if you did not get one yet, please call Town Hall. We'll look into that to see if we have the right address, if you're supposed to get one, of course. And going out early will help with our cash flow for the rest of September, as this is the time of year when money can run a little bit tight, especially when paying the school $750,000 per month for our contribution there. Equipment update. Our trash container hauling truck had some hydraulic repairs done under warranty 3 weeks ago. It's been working fine ever since. And we had to change out containers on both Saturday and Sunday this past weekend. And Benton told me that he doesn't remember when we've ever had to do that. So the busier economy, the growing town, and I think this trash truck is going to be even more valuable and more convenient for us, so we don't have to wait for people to come on Sunday when the mountain of garbage is growing at the transfer station. As technology changes and people don't have to come into town hall as much, the ladies in the front hall here have to have projects all the time, and they do a good job keeping themselves relatively busy. One of the things that Christine has been doing for years now is she's been working in the vault. That old safe we have in there is something that we no longer need. We don't lock it up inside the vault. It's holding some things that shelving or another unit can hold. So this one is a Mosler. It's in much better condition. It's a little bigger in the inside dimension, I think, than the other one that we sold to a town. So this one I'm hoping we'll get somewhere between $500 and $1,000 for it. We will put it out to bid, but there's a fire safe in the vault that we don't need anymore, and I'm happy to show it to anybody if they're interested. Our old police cruiser is going to be retired. I guess it needs a water pump and the structural rust in it, so we're not going to do any more work with it. If somebody wants to buy it as is, that's fine. If not, then we'll junk it. We will put that out to bid. We're not going to spend a whole lot of money on probably more than one ad. The next code enforcement officer inspection vehicle is going to be the white pickup from the fire department. It's had some body work done to take care of the rust on both the wheel wells, and we should have that back either late this week or certainly by the end of next week at the latest. In terms of recycling and trash, Clint and Dave Benton and I met with our issue 57 business manager last week. The middle school has so much contamination in their recycling container that we don't even try and recycle it. We put it in the household rubbish because it's so bad. We've talked to them before. They're working to get the problem solved at the staff and the contracting level. It seems though the custodial staff is more the source of the problem, although this time of year when contractors are there, there's a lot of things that go into the recycling compactor container that should not. But it's definitely not the kids' fault. Let's face it, there have been no kids over there to throw things in the recycling, inappropriate things in the recycling. I wanted to update you on what David and I had for strategy on the parking behind the food pantry. We'll tackle that next month. Mid-September is the goal. We're going to come into the entrance that the food pantry uses now and kind of come straight. We're going to try and save that oak tree that's out here at the end of the parking lot. And we'll probably need one basin out there to collect the storm water. And then continue the gravel out to the right of the fence. And I'm hoping we could get 25 or 30 cars out there. We've had a surveyor actually mark the line so we can make sure we stay on our own property. And the public water line into the fire station, we hope to start early to mid-October so we can get that trench across the parking lot paved. Remember, we moved money around in the last fiscal year. We spent $86,000 out of the $100,000 that you folks had moved around available for that. That was for Foglio materials. That was for Foglio's labor and equipment. We bought the materials, and all of that totaled up to 86. So it's been taken over, and the pipe is sticking out of the woods in the fire station. We just need to take it over to the building and bring it inside. Matt has been working on some pricing for what's going to happen inside the building and how many places they're going to be able to fill up a truck. And I need your input here. I can't remember if I gave you a comprehensive memo or a copy of Natalie's opinion of McLucas Road Extension. I can't remember
We had
if I
an
did.
email.
Get it in an email.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm ready to send a letter to all those folks on McLucas Extension, essentially telling them that legal opinion as the town's position to kind of put this to bed. I've been asked to send something like that. So if you're ready to have me do that, that's fine. If you're not and you want to see that actual email from her, I can't remember if I forwarded it to you. I didn't have a chance to look before the meeting tonight. But she was very clear. She says that that road and the others in that article in 1955 were discontinued.
Yeah, we saw the whole summary, at least I did.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it was all her email.
okay, good. Then I will write that letter and send that to them. That's it from me, thank you.
Okay, questions, comments? Okay, let's move on here. New business, discuss vote to approve the special municipal election warrant for the November 5th meeting, or the November 5th election. And in your agenda, I believe it starts, Well, agenda item 9A. The special municipal election warrant, town of Waterboro. Pete Cody is the one that is publishing it. And this is greetings in the state of Maine, you are hereby commanded, notified, blah, blah, blah. Same old language. Absentee ballots will be processed at the polling place on November 5th, 9 a.m. to 8. There's 2 articles, one to elect the moderator to preside at said meeting, and the second one, shall the town vote to adopt an ordinance entitled Town of Waterboro ATV ordinance. There's for us to sign this off so that it gets posted, and then there's the ordinance in its current state, or at least the last state that we had this in. That is attached to this. Needless to say, we will have to have public hearings prior to this referendum vote. So, what is your pleasure?
So there's only gonna be 2 articles?
Only 2 articles from us.
We have no other questions at this time for this fall's election. Local questions.
And I don't know what the state's got in November, not a lot.
Bond.
Anything bond,
As
right?
of last night, it was one bond.
Yeah, it was one bond, a big bond. So. And that's all roads and bridges, right?
Yeah. They're gonna wait on the other 2 or 3 bonds that they had proposed.
Yeah, I know the governor's already expressed their disappointment, but they all didn't get approved. So, what's your pleasure here? We voted to take it to the people, we need to approve the warrant.
And the public hearing for this would be no later than October 25th.
So, do I have a motion to approve
I make a motion that we approve the,
municipal election warrant?
yes, thank you.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I need to sign
Gordon, were
that.
you up or down?
You up and down?
Up.
5-0. Thank you.
So, the warrant is here to sign. Item B, discuss possible vote to approve the amendments to the Highway Entrance Ordinance. And again, just to refresh everybody's memory, this adds a paragraph to the ordinance that takes the responsibility of cost and everything to the landowner in total. In fact, they have the right to hire who they want to do it, as long as it meets the definition of the ordinance and it is approved by the Public Works Director.
So moved.
And do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Doug, you have a
Well, I
question?
didn't realize you was having a public hearing tonight. I thought this was I saw it on the computer. I wanted to speak on that.
Okay.
I don't know just how to go about this, but, you know, and I'm not sure that this is a good idea, because many of the roads in town, the town roads, have serious ditching issues that we never will live long enough to address them all. And if you give the people the right to hire who they want, you're gonna keep the Public Works Director busy. In most cases, the Public Works Department has got to go out and clean the ditches and prepare it on both sides of the entrance before you can put a culvert in, and set the elevation of the culvert. So once you have people doing this, there's going to be a problem, because the town's going to have to go out there and do part of the work, and then the people are gonna have their own individuals putting in the culvert at a later date. I think that this would be, I think it needs, more looking into than just saying, okay, let the general public hire who they want to put in a culvert. The way it is now, or was the last I knew, they paid the town for the culvert, the town went out and installed it. If you wanted to have it so that the cost of any and all materials was borne by the person, but the work was done by the town, because if the town's gonna be out there ditching the side of the road on both sides of the culverts, and you have to do this because in a lot of places, they'll decide they want a driveway where there is no ditch at all, and they'll say, we don't need a culvert. And so if they go out and just put a culvert in and don't ditch on either side of it, you've got a waste. You've got nothing to do. I don't approve at all of having the general public hire who they want just to put in culverts. I think this is a bad idea. And I think you really ought to look it over some more and just go along with having them pay the cost of the gravel and the culvert and not the cost of actually installing the culvert, because the town is going to have their own equipment there doing the ditching, so what time it takes to put in a culvert is minimal.
Okay. Well, all I can tell you is that today we're spending a lot of money to install them, and we have a minimal size public works crew, and people are now frustrated because they're waiting to get them installed. So other than there's a couple of unintended consequences here that happen, right? The ordinance, and I think the ordinance certainly is a very solid ordinance and everything else, but the cost is being borne by, the majority of the cost is being borne by the town in this case. I think this year we've installed 20 some odd, or over 20 culverts. It's costing the town $1,000+ per culvert to install it, and that's not the cost of the culvert. So that's what drove this discussion. I think certainly, you bring up a good point, but that doesn't mean that we can't go back to this at some point in time and say, okay, we've created a bunch of problems by allowing people to install their own culverts, which they've done for, tens and 20s of years in this town, up until this ordinance was done. So I think, we're at least obligated to give this a shot. Let's go back to, we're gonna control how it goes in, we're gonna inspect it after the fact. There will be no occupancy permits issued unless there's a Department of Public Works Director approval. So I think this takes us out of the business of the town paying for everything except for the culvert. And if this doesn't have the intended results, then we can revisit it again. But I think, we've kicked this around here now for 6 or 8 weeks, and we're now to a point where we've added this paragraph, and that's the only real change to this is the paragraph. So, yeah.
Do you concern more about the quality of the work of the culvert, or just the fact that you think that Public Works is already going to be out there, like you said?
The Public Works Department is already going to be out there, and I guess I think that figuring $1,000 to put in a culvert is quite extensive. That's a lot of money. But in order to put in a culvert and put it in correctly, you've got to ditch on both sides of it. You've got to either rip wrap the ends of it or build stone wall or insert a concrete header. And, you know, is the public gonna do this? The ones that I've seen them do in the past, they don't do it.
But the ordinance, Doug, tells them that they have to do that.
Well, the ordinance might tell them they have to do it, but they don't do it.
Well, before, the ordinance was on a half a piece of paper, right? So I think we've expanded the ordinance to be a very comprehensive ordinance. I
We've
think
also
that-
expanded our highway department considerably, and we keep expanding it, and we're gonna expand it more, and people are paying a tremendous tax in this town. Our taxes in this town are pretty high, and we get very little for it. And I think that, you know, doing the work and doing it correctly, and, you know, if people are waiting, that's unfortunate. But, you know.
But when you have a case where there's a development, right? Is the town gonna go into the new development and install the culverts?
Of course not, it's private land. The culverts should be in before the road's accepted.
But the culvert to the road, the town would be responsible to put the culvert for the road into that development.
You could address that particular issue. In most cases, the developer is responsible for doing that when they do the drainage
I
plan.
would hope that would be on the approved plan by the.
Yes, and they're responsible for it, and this is all gotta be done, and it's either bonded or all done before the road is turned over. But, you know, it's just not a good practice. When they gotta be out there and ditch the road anyway, what time it takes to install that culvert is minimal. And you can make sure you install it, you can make sure, are you gonna ask everybody that goes out there, you're gonna say, okay, I want a certification that this gravel meets type D state of Maine spec gravel, or type A gravel? Or are you gonna put just put sand in there? And you gotta remember, once you install that culvert, it becomes the town's. Once it's in, it becomes the town's. And anything that's done forever after is borne by the town. So the first installation is the most important one. You know, what kind of culvert are you specing that they have to put in if they put it in themselves? If there's less than 12 inches of cover over it, it should not be an ADS culvert, it should not be a plastic culvert, it should be a steel culvert, because that's the only thing that'll take the load of the weight.
The point though, Doug, is that's all called out in the ordinance. All right, before we didn't have that. You know, you and I both know that, right? It was on a piece of paper.
I guess I wasted my time. Thank you very much.
What Doug's saying, I got to agree with. Deering Bridge, those 4 or 5 houses that they're building, spec houses or whatever they are, but there's no ditch line up through them. And if the contractor, the town put those culverts in, fine, and did the ditching, but if the contractor put those culverts in, you get one a little high and one a little low, and that water can't run anywhere. And the water itself was coming off the road and running across that whole parcel of land. Today, the water's gotta run down a ditch line that's on the side of the road and then run somewhere onto private property. But every one of those culverts, if different contractors put them in, there's no set height.
Well, there should be if the public works director's doing his
Well,
job.
That's the problem right there. You gotta have something for an elevation before you say, yeah, put an 18-inch culvert or a 12-inch culvert or a 15 in. At what height?
Yeah.
And if you don't set the height for the first one, then the second one is gonna be too high or too low. So if the Public Works is doing it on that particular piece, if it's a single lot, it's a different story, because you should have some ditch lines down through there, but.
Well, there's a perfect example of why the planning board should have required whatever
Yep.
improvements for those driveways on the plan. Right? So, that's something that should have been done on that
That's-
plan.
that's a cost to the taxpayer right there from the planning board because they didn't set the,
I don't know if they did or
Yeah.
not, but, you know.
I think they relied on the ordinance for all that stuff.
Which they can do, but it still has to go back to,
I look at those lots and I think they're shoestring lots.
well, I agree with you,
Yeah,
it probably
I
should have never been
And
approved.
we've
in that
never,
manner.
ever allowed shoestring lots and
But that's the planning board's decision, so. All right, so we've heard some input from Doug. We've got a motion to, any other discussion?
And a second.
I get a motion in a second. So, don't say that we can't go fix this again and do something else with it. So, if there's no other discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 3-2.
3-2, okay?
Okay, we can always bring it back. Let's go to 9C, which we've added, videos for public access. So, Jim, your name was used, so
Probably be best if he presents it.
step right up to your mic.
Okay, what I wanted to do was I've talked to the TV channel down there, and they said that they don't have too many people out here in Waterboro that can do shows for them. So I kind of volunteered, said that I'd do some shows. Some of the shows that I want to do is I want to follow around the public works guy, fire department, the different groups that meet for the town of Waterboro, show everybody exactly what these people do on a day-to-day basis or during a meeting. So I wanted
So
to,
it would be like a public access or
Yeah.
a PSA, public
Yeah.
service announcement kind of.
Sort of.
announcement, right? You'd use that for educational purposes, really, right?
right, yep,
Let people see the faces of the people doing the work and what they do.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where would it be run?
Infomercials.
It would be run on, well, we could put it on our website. It'll be run on the station's, I think it's channel 102, I think that, or 1102, I think is what it would be run on.
This
as
is
well.
shown,
What's that?
where this meeting is showing.
Yes.
1302,
1302.
Yep.
Okay.
so. But you would make it available to be viewed on the, just like we do
Yep.
the meetings, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's not, I mean, people can watch this live, but they can always watch it once it's posted up on the website, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'll go back. I'll edit it and then.
the only
Post
problem
it.
with editing something like that is your OSHA, your Department of Labor, and then you've got, if them guys aren't playing right to safety, you've got public access of that whole,
Yeah, you're gonna
do
be,
you or don't you? And,
you bring up a good point.
yeah,
You need to be very careful with what you videotape and
Right.
what activities the folks are
safety
conducting.
equipment and safety around that stuff is either OSHA or Department of Labor, and if somebody gets hurt, you get it on tape.
He's been told that he's to call Public Works Director before ever filming.
Right.
I understand that, but are we playing right to code?
Well,
And
you're
then
gonna have to.
advertise it on
You're gonna have to
TV.
make sure that everybody that's reviewed before it goes public, that everybody puts an eye on it and make sure that we're not, we're doing everything according to OSHA and safety standards, and it's the same as if we went to the transfer station.
Not that they ain't supposed to be doing it, but
Right.
every day something is done not kosher.
Were you thinking of having that reviewed, like say the fire department, have Matt review what you're putting out first
Yeah.
and
Yeah. I'll do all the editing and
get a second
have,
set of eyes on
Yep.
it?
Have somebody take a look at it, tell me what they think.
So is
If there's
Patrick
something-
gonna help doing this process, or give you guidance, or?
He'll give me both. He'll give me help and guidance, he said.
What's the cost to the town going to be on this?
Nothing.
You're just looking for support
Yeah.
or opposition, whichever.
Yeah. I'm not gonna charge the town anything.
Well, I would take a very simple one to start with, and maybe, you know, walk through one and, you know, get it edited, and we'll take a peek at it, and, before we go off and start doing, you know, dozens of them, let's get one behind us and make sure that we, so, I don't know whether you follow Glenn for a day, or follow, you know, somebody in the office here, of what kind of activities they do. You'd run into a little bit of putting anybody from the public on the video, but you'd have to get some release forms.
Right.
But anyway.
I was just gonna bring that up. I mean, individuals, specific individuals might not wanna be on a video, so.
You'd have to deal with all that, but Patrick has to know all of that stuff, right? I mean, they're in, I mean, we pay them to exist, all the towns that are involved in Saco River Community TV, so
Right.
he knows all of those regulations and, relative to, you know, inadvertently videoing somebody or whatever the case may be, so. But yeah, I think it would be a great idea to expose people to some of the things that happen around town.
We appreciate you volunteering time for it.
Yeah, you could put a, you know, Go camera on,
The GoPro, yeah.
on driving to Eco Maine every day. A load to Eco Maine.
Thank
All
you.
right,
All right.
Thanks.
let us know when you're ready to have us peek at one. How's that?
I'll do that.
Any old business? Other business, discuss about to approve the minutes of the August 13th regular meeting.
Some second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Pending decisions, week's action list, have we developed anything for the week's action
I'll
list?
get a letter to McLucas Road Extension folks.
Any agenda items, ideas, comments? What do you want to see? What do you want to talk about?
Committee on your entrance road ordinance.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Road
Appoint-
Entrance Appeals Board.
yeah, appointments.
Did we ever form the lake level dam committee that we were required to do, or?
Thought we had somebody and you appointed me to the,
Well, we had a new controller, but as a
Right.
part of that agreement with the DEP, we were supposed to create a committee to oversee the lake level.
Yeah, I think
The way I
there
remember.
is an ordinance.
there's, I thought
And I
it was the
think-
Lake Association.
No, there's a member from the Lake Association,
Okay.
a member from the board, right? And I think that's it.
And I'm not sure we were bound to do that immediately or what, but that's another committee that's kind of in limbo.
Yeah, it's a committee that never has to meet, basically.
Just a formality.
Yeah, we ought to pick up and look at some of the committees that might be hanging in limbo. The road review committee needs a push for some members, and it would be probably a smart thing to get recycling of transfer station committee back active and going again too.
We're at 3
It's
on that
almost
now.
4 years. For recycling?
Yeah, Transfer Station Committee.
Not that I know of. I know Bob was the only one on there for quite a while. Like, we appointed people.
Yeah, we put 1 or 2 others on there. Been a while.
Yeah.
John Noel was one of them.
Why don't we just pull everybody that's, all the vacancies and all the members of the committees, just so that we can put that in front of us and talk about it next meeting. Other than that, folks,
I'd like to see us start working on a pay review. We haven't done that for probably 5 years anyway. It seems we've lost a couple of people, and one of the, it costs us quite a bit of money to train somebody and then get them all trained and then they leave because, our salary package isn't at least consistent with, other towns. I mean, I'm not saying we have to be number one, but I think that we ought to be on a level playing field. So I think that we ought to, start at least looking into, through MMA or, word of mouth from the other towns on what, pay rates are, and if we have to make some type of adjustment in the future, we'll have the ammunition to take the steps on that.
Matt and I have talked about this for years, and when we do it, we both agree that we should do everybody and set up formal pay scales. And I think we're big enough so that we can start doing that. Now, we don't have a huge employee base, but we've had the situation with the rec assistant, Sherry, Laura Fish at the fire department, and the code enforcement. I mean, those 4 positions are pretty similar. And that was the thing that brought pay equity, I guess, to light and made us talk even more about having a pay scale.
There should be ranges for the same position in different departments.
Yep.
Yeah, I think certainly should
Experience
be
triggers, so
something that I guess if you and Matt want to.
well, it's all in the
Something.
personnel policy. We would actually come up with another whole chapter in there, I guess.
Yeah.
And do that.
But we ought to, I agree with Gordon, I think it's time to at least revisit and create some of that stuff that we've talked about and batted around here for several years.
And now that Monday's not here, we need to review and change the personnel policy and maybe make the, Sherry's gonna throw something at me here. Remember when you went to 4 days, you allowed people to use the floating holidays?
Right.
And we're open now. So we ought to change that.
Yeah, let's take a look at it anyway. Go from there. Okay? Anything else? If not, we need to sign the minutes, sign the special election warrant, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Good night.